Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Rowdy Loafer Podcast. Here we're on San Jacinto Day. Woo! What is that?
Remember the Alamo.
Yeah. Remember Goliath. I got my Goliath boots on.
Cheers.
Right,
I'll drink to that.
Cheers. Amigos.
All right.
I'm your host, Chris Conradical here, the Impresario. I'm here with my compadres, Suit Steve Springer, and the famous Fireball Bill.
Fireball Bill.
What a great day. It's Fireball Friday.
It's Fireball Friday.
We're used to doing these on Thursdays.
Yeah.
Today's Friday.
Yeah, it's Aggie Mustard. It's good stuff. A lot of good stuff going on. We got a great friend of ours, JD Marsh, is joining us, and we're going to talk about beef. We talked about a little bit.
Hey, did he bring food?
Ooh, I don't know. Did he?
Yeah, yes, he did.
Because, you know,
he actually
I mean,
did.
you got to bring food if you're JD
So
Marsh.
last week we had Ryan Cade on. He was talking about Wagyu beef. All I've been thinking about all week is Wagyu beef. You know, we never had any. So,
Yeah.
Anyways, we're going to go deep into some Texas history. We're going to talk about the battle on this historic day. We're going to be talking about some great ranching and pit barbecue and just really cool stuff. We've had a crazy week, all of us here, and we're going to go into that as well. So, stay tuned. Hey guys, we're back. We actually got a lot of folks in here now, so we're going to be fielding some questions and just having a good time with our live audience.
Live audience.
I know it feels like kind of like a game show.
It is a game show.
Better
You never know what'll happen on the Rowdy Loafer podcast.
Rowdy
it's
Loafers.
better than the dead
Look at
audience.
some Rowdy Loafers. I know exactly. We got a lot of really cool content today, guys. This is the best Texas hour of your week. We're going to have some fun stuff. You're going to probably learn a little bit as well. As we get into, we're doing a double header.
Yeah, we are.
You know, this is going to be, we're trying to capture as much as we can during these high holy days of Texas. This is the actual climax of the Texas Revolution, so it's going to be phenomenal. But let's talk about this week. We've had a crazy week. What you got going on, Suit?
Just been busy. You know, I've got a lot of really great clients that have become just really good friends, and people need things. They need things last minute, and so you kind of rush and you get it done. But I know
suits?
Yeah, suits and sport coats and custom shirts and everything else. So I've been kind of running all over the place. But I know you guys have had a really interesting week.
Just FYI, these are cool. These are Blue Fine Menswear. That's what he makes. I mean, you've kind of met us on the past few podcasts. Go back to those if you want to know more about kind of our backstory. But he makes the finest suits here in Texas for sure, right?
Thank you.
Hey.
Thank you.
Hey,
Hey,
just got to do little plugs here and there.
I appreciate that. But you and Fireball have had some fun this week too.
It's been busy.
Hanging out, doing some golf, some Chevron.
Yeah, I'm not a big golfer, but we're hanging out. What?
Oh, I have 2 sets of golf clubs, and I don't know how to use either one.
I was cleaning out my garage, and my wife's like, "You never use these, like in 20 years."
It's a great coat rack, and we hang our quilt over them. So
You do your laundry on it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But no, we've had a great time. It's the Chevron Classics in town, and it's the LPGA golf tournament, which is amazing. And we got to partner up with them and a lot of other interesting folks, and the president of Chevron. And
wow, it was cool. I mean, I've never seen some of these sponsors are like CEOs from these different countries and countries and companies. They're all over the place.
You know, the Top Golf and CBS Sports, and I mean, there's just a whole. We could just go on and on and on about who all was there, but we got to be there, which was amazing.
Yeah. So did people get boots? What did you do? Did you fit people up, or what happened?
Absolutely. So Chevron decided to bring in some of their top, some of their clients and some of the sponsors for the golf tournament, and they were kind enough to allow us to fit them for custom boots. So we fit about 35 people for custom boots, which was amazing. It was over a 2-day period. Then we're actually going to go back on Sunday when the tournament winds up. And Chris, you want to talk about this?
I mean, it's cool.
This is an honor.
Yeah, it's a big honor. So they want something like the green jacket, something that's but Texas is really cool.
Right.
So they had such a great time at this fitting event with these guys that were designing boots because, you know, some of these people are very wealthy and they can buy any kind of, vacation or thing, but they can't get that.
They don't want for anything.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. But this experience of designing your own boots and talking about the details of the sole and the things, the nerding out aspects that we like to get into, they're just eating it up. They're like, wow, this is one of the coolest things we've ever done. So they're like, hey, we want that gift, the winner, to not get the green jacket, but the custom boots. And we're going to be out there.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
And keep that for years.
It's a
an
lifetime
ongoing thing.
It's a
That's
lifetime. It's something they can pass on to their kids and always talk about that they had that experience and what they want. That's incredible.
That's
Really
cool. Yeah, we got a lot of cool stuff. Yeah.
Are you going to do something cool on the shaft of the boot or something?
It's
to
really
kinda
up to them,
commemorate?
because initially on these boots that we did the classic Chevron championship logo and
Yeah,
stuff
correct.
on a few of them.
Yep.
But they're like, look, the winner gets whatever they want. So
Right.
we'll work on the design aspect
get
of
to
it.
opt out a little bit,
And
but-
we'll be able to kind of, again, this is going to be a year after year thing. So maybe we make some kind of style that is a kind of the green jacket thing that you
Right.
got a little
Right.
bit of
So it's
something on there.
Spec it
Right, so
out
it's
that
more like a
that's their
trophy, so there'll be
style.
something to
Yeah.
I love
commemorate
it.
the,
I love it.
their
Yeah,
accomplishment.
these are the fun
And then
things.
personalize it.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Very good.
Yeah, so so we got a lot going on this week, but again, we are sitting here on the 21st of April, which is San Jacinto Day. So we got kind of a two-part aspect of this. We're going to talk about how we got there. It sounds like Ken White. How did we get there on his on his podcast? And then the second part is going to be the actual battle itself. There's some really cool stuff that maybe folks don't understand about the actual battle itself. And so even the folks I'm talking to around the store today, my wife and others, I'm like, do you know what happened? They're like, my wife's like, that's the place where, the thing happened. So I was like,
The thing.
the monument thing and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Well, it goes deeper than that. So we're going to nerd out, as we do with all of our guests, and talking about the details of boot making, the history, the backstories. For me, that's the most fascinating aspect. And of course, we're going to got JD up here. We're going to be talking about some of the cool stuff about Texas barbecue. But, so let me just kind of take you guys back. We've been talking about this the past few weeks about the Texas Revolution, talked about the Alamo. I got my Goliad boots here. So we had the massacre at Goliad of over 400 Texian troops. And everybody's going back. So trying to string out the Santa Ana supply chain that's trying to feed these guys and go through this sea of mud, as they called the runaway scrape, which is horrendous. You imagine you spend all of your life out there as a pioneer building your farm, your house, all that, and you're ordered to burn it. I mean, especially the capital at San Felipe, they torched the whole thing, which is actually rebuilding, by the way, which is another kind of cool thing that we'll bring Ken and others on to talk about the rebuilding process there at San Felipe. So, one of the things is we're kind of tying into our guests and talking about stuff that last week we were talking about the evolution of the Texas Longhorn, where that came from. It's pretty interesting to think about in the late 1400s when the Spanish brought over the Spanish breed of cattle, and then they bred and they became feral, like a feral pig kind of thing, right? But they interbred with the eastern style of cattle, and they created the Texas Longhorn. Well, this is a very hardy species that's just running through Texas at that time period. So I just kind of picture these guys like the journal of Herrn Ehrenberg, the German that kind of came through, and he's documenting these things, these longhorns going through the wilderness with buffalo and bear and coyotes and wolves and all of this stuff. It's all there, right? And it's just kind of a fascinating scene in my mind,
That
kind
it
of
is.
thinking about that. But in his journals, he's always talking about, then we had beefsteak.
Yeah.
Beefsteak. That's all he would talk about inside of that journal, which is fascinating. They must have had beef. But
It was kind of plentiful.
yeah,
I mean, that's
I
what
guess they would
had.
just wrangle
Exactly.
up these longhorns. It's
Slaughter 'em
easier to
and-
catch than a bear, I guess, or or a deer, whatever. You just catch you a longhorn. I don't think they had BREGGY bomb to put on it or anything like that.
Probably not.
No, so it's I don't know what they would spice it with. I don't know if JD knows the history of that. Maybe we'll ask him.
Well, it came shortly
Yeah.
after. So.
Yeah, you get some. Even salt was a precious commodity at that time.
But I would
Anyways.
imagine one longhorn would feed a lot of guys.
Yeah.
So
And they would take these longhorns out, and they would I'm sure they'd preserve it a certain way, and
Yeah.
then that kind of became the staple of Texas culture and Texas food by having the beef. As
better
opposed
than a good steak.
That's right.
Yeah, as opposed to other parts of the country where you had
It's what's for dinner.
Beef.
yeah,
Yep.
as opposed to pig and stuff like that, as you see in Tennessee in these the eastern part of the United States. So, anyways, that's the beef cooking process, the pit barbecue, all of that stuff. These guys are out there cooking it, Man, I'm getting hungry.
I am too. I'm just thinking about this. Man, I can smell it as you're talking about it.
exactly.
That, man,
That
that
Wagyu.
barbecue sounds good.
I get distracted. I've digressed. Anyways.
Back to Texas history.
Back to Texas history.
Chris Conrad.
Yeah. So these guys had the runaway scrape, a horrendous situation. They're not in good spirits, right? Their friends have been murdered. They're trying to figure out what are we going to do next, right? So they're running away. This is not. These guys came to Texas as frontiersmen, and they're just badasses. I mean, you can imagine like Davy Crockett and these guys. I mean, they're out there hunting. They're coming to Texas by themselves. They left their families behind. They're not in any mood to run away, right?
No, right.
So to keep these guys in line must have been just a tremendous task for for Sam Houston and others. You know, I'm not a huge Sam Houston fan, given the fact that he's a bit of a Jacksonian agent for Andrew Jackson to bring Texas back into the Union. But I got to give a lot of credit to keeping the Texas troops in line at that time.
He had his place in history.
100%. Yeah. You know, so he actually gave orders at that time that if you disobey, you will be shot, because there's so much mutiny during this runaway scrape aspects of trying to cross the Brazos.
Yeah, you know, thinking about it from the standpoint of someone who was, you know, I was in the military, and, you know, one of the things that is the biggest part of morale for soldiers is good food, having something hot to eat every day. And so kind of tying that back in, I imagine that slaughtering those longhorns and making some good steaks every day was really beneficial to Sam Houston in keeping that morale up, keeping them fed.
Army marches on his belly.
I'd be
right?
really interested to hear. Kind of Ken probably knows a lot about that. That'd be really interesting to hear if that was a factor in that whole process there. Just with that and keeping that morale up.
I would think it'd have to be.
Got to keep food in the belly of the army.
sure.
They said
Not just food, good food.
You're right.
Yeah, get some.
absolutely.
Right?
I mean, it's not a Wagyu steak from RC Ranch or anything, but
No.
You know, it's still.
But it'll do in
it's
a
still
bit.
better. Yeah, you're still.
It'll do in
you're
a
still
scrape.
eating.
Right.
And he actually give his soldiers, you know, a little bit of fighting, so they knew that these armies were split between like a north, central, and south routes. So and that was the whole idea, is to again stretch out that supply lines. And just get these guys, you know, they're marching their army through the Santa Ana Centralist Army through the sea of mud, and they're just like, what are we doing? Where are we going? And definitely to the benefit of some of these guys. I mean, these guys are a lot of frontiersmen. They were Tejanos as well, but there's a lot of people from different countries. But they're used to fighting in the woods, right? So that's where we're trying to get into the woods a little bit more. If you think about the Battle of Goliad, or the situation at Goliad, the Battle of Toledo Creek, these Mexican lancers that they had, the horses, they were just great on open field, so they had stood no chance. One of Fannon's biggest blunders at that was to not retreat into the woods,
Right.
You know, where these guys knew how to use their Kentucky rifles and things to defend themselves. They actually set up in the middle of the prairie out there and they slaughtered their horses and things around them to create a barricade to try to shoot from, and the Lancers and others, they stood no chance, especially with cannon fire on a central area like that. They had to surrender. Okay, that's another story, but they surrendered under different terms, which they thought that they would be, you know, go back to the places that they were from. So, but in this situation, they're trying to figure out how they could take out one of these columns of the Mexican army at the centralist army at the time, because you got to understand. You can listen to past episodes talking about this. You know, Texas was part of the Mexican Federation, a part of the Federalist forces as opposed to the centralist forces of Santa Ana, right? So that's where all this kind of came down. So the point of this Texas history moment, I can go on and on this, you know, guys, is the Which Way tree. And I asked you guys earlier about this Which Way tree, right? And
I felt ashamed. I did not know.
I know.
About
Not a
the
lot of people
Way
know
tree.
about the Which Way tree.
Way? I don't know.
Yeah.
So
Which way did he go?
which way did
Exactly.
it go? Into a wood, you know,
Yeah.
took the path less traveled.
Right. I think so.
All right,
Tell us
so-
about the Which Way
So,
tree.
so the Which Way tree, this is kind of like how they got there. This is the first part of it. Again, I'll talk about the battle in our next episode. But the Which Way tree is actually it's Hockley, but it's actually right between Tomball and Hockley, right up there. It's actually next to the place that we had the Michael Berry birthday deal.
2920
2920
Roadhouse.
Roadhouse.
Yeah, it was a cool place. It's actually right there. There's a place called New Kentucky at the time. So it was the main thoroughfare through, and you split right there at this massive live oak tree to go either north to Nacogdoches, where there, if you keep going, of course, east there, you could have the U.S. Army support you, and it'd be basically safety. Or you would take the right path. Maybe that is the right path.
The correct
path.
or the right.
The actual right, the direction.
Right path.
That's
Direction
correct.
right.
Yeah, both ways,
Yeah.
which is to Houston or Harrisburg at that time,
Right.
which they knew that Santa Ana was in that direction. So this tree is actually still there. Again, we kind of nerd out on details on this show. We talk about a lot of specifics, but I saw it and I was kind of what's our buddy from Spirit of Texas, the president. Anyways, he actually wrote a biography on Sam Houston. He actually does a lot of posts, and he posted this one.
Oh, Denton
Florian.
Yeah,
Florian,
Denton
great
Florian.
dude. And it was written by this John Rich guy. And John Rich went into a lot of details about this tree, which I thought was fascinating because it is a live oak tree still there. You should go check it out. And they're trying to figure out how old is this tree? Was this the real tree? And all those kinds of things. So, the moral of the story is you can do a bore sample. You can check the rings on a tree to see how
Right.
old it is, because different species of tree, of course, through drought and a lot of rain, things like that, they grow at different rates. But the live oak is one of the slowest growing trees here in Texas. The pine tree grows significantly faster than that. So they're trying to figure out exactly how old it is. So based on the circumference of it, the diameters, and all these kinds of things, that tree that's there is over 300 years old.
Wow.
Which is pretty cool. If you kind of think about
Sure it is.
what, I guess Alamo's being built at that time of this tree sprouting up. And that tree sprouts up fast, and then it takes time. So as it gets about 75 years old, then it goes slower. It grows much slower. So you have to kind of take all these engineering things, and I won't bore you with the calculations, which I love. I think it's fascinating to how you get there, of that actual number of 300 years old. So how old was it when it was at the time of Sam Houston being there? Is about 113 years old at that time. So
it was still a big tree.
This is still a big tree, so it kind of dominated the
Yeah.
plain there. And so, but the funny thing is, again, talking about Sam Houston, we're going to dive down into the motivations of Sam Houston versus the Texas Army at that time. But Sam Houston definitely wanted to have a bit of safety on the Nacogdoches trail, but the Texas Army forced they didn't say anything. They just went right, because he knew that he couldn't control the army, because everybody wanted to fight at that time. They were just done running away. They knew that these different columns had split at that time, and they were going after Santa Ana. And we have a boot up here called the Erastus Dev Smith boot as well. And this guy kind of plays into a lot of this. They'd intercepted some type of communication that the Santa Ana column was by itself. So they definitely were going towards the fight at that time. So I can nerd out for days on this kind of stuff, but
Trust me, he can.
I can, and I'll tell you, we'll go with some details. Anyway, so we talked about beef, right? We kind of got into some of the history of the Witchway tree. So you got to figure out. I mean, could you imagine that particular decision changed the course of Texas history and the course of the world, our worlds,
As
for
we know
sure.
it, sure.
And so it's great. What is this?
Outstanding.
What is this? 1836 beers. So your lovely bride just brought us
Yes, she
these
did.
Buffalo Bayou Brewing Company 1836. It's crisp and malty. This is just like Fireball Bill, right?
It's a copper ale.
If you
I'm gonna
have to
try this.
ask what 1836 stands for, please put this beer down and leave our country. Amen to that.
Amen. We can
Yeah.
take a quick.
Let's see.
I'll do that.
Let's try it.
Yeah.
You can try it.
I don't
know
know.
you're.
There's no bitter beer face here.
Yeah. All right. Just taking the right path. Hey, it's different. It's got a bite. It's not. You're not
It's
used to that.
crisp and malty.
It's crisp and
Yeah.
malty.
It's crisp and malty, with a
Wake
touch
you
of
up.
hops.
Yeah.
I
definitely
came up with
tastes
that all on my own. Did not read it off the front of it.
There's
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
two touches of hops.
Two
Good stuff.
touches.
Yes.
Okay.
Love it.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, what else does 1836 mean around here at Republic Boot Company?
Well, we named our stock line of boots after that. I mean,
What do you know?
There's a lot of stuff that goes on. I mean,
I'm wearing the Milems today.
yeah, you are.
I am.
I'm wearing a pair myself.
Yeah, 1836. So we love the year. I mean, there's a lot of great content. The backstory is fascinating on all these little things. We just talked about Witchwade Tree for a while there, and then the beefsteaks and all those wonderful things. So we got many episodes on 1836, and that's a wonderful year for us. So, but without further ado, can we get our buddy JD Marsh up here from what you got? You got BREGGY Bomb, you got J Bar J, all this wonderful stuff, man. Good to see you, brother. How are you?
Good. How are y'all?
Good, man.
Good to see you.
What's up, Migo?
What's up?
Have you tried the 1836?
I have not. I'll take a swig of
There
Bill's
you go.
here.
Go for
Oh
it.
yeah, there you go.
It's a little hoppy for me.
It's a little hoppy. I'm not a big IPA guy.
neither.
Kind of like an IPA deal.
I'll
It's one of those.
stick with the Lone Star.
It's like one of those, like those darker beers. Like I love like a like the Shiner Black, I guess is what
The
it is.
Cosmo.
Yes.
Yeah, just like
Yes.
one or two.
That's it.
Yeah, in
But it's not-
moderation.
It's not like an all day thing, you know. If
No,
I'm,
no.
You got to have a bit of a lighter beer if you're going to be drinking, cooking meat and stuff
That's
like
right.
that.
That's right.
Man, how'd you get in the meat thing? Give us a quick Cliff Notes version of your life and what happened to.
Or don't do the Cliff Notes version. Just
Oh,
So-
just go,
Oh,
just
the
go,
whole
just
Well,
go.
so first off,
Yeah.
y'all been talking about my life. I grew up in Victoria, 15 miles from the Phantom Battlefield.
There you
Yeah,
go.
right on.
So and now I live in Sealy, about 7 miles from San Felipe. So
Awesome, man.
what y'all are talking about, I've grown up around.
Yeah.
And I'm a big Texas history buff as well.
So you know those plains, right? So you can kind of see. I was out there
Absolutely.
at that battlefield. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I've been to the battlefield many times.
It's like go in those woods right there,
Yeah.
protect yourself.
That's cool.
Jeez.
Yeah, there along the creek and along the river, it's lots of woods, and they were just out in the wide open there.
That's right.
Like I said, bad decision. But no, I'm in the barbecue business. Own a barbecue rub and sauce company, and then we own a catering company as well. Really got started, always growing up. Like we're talking about, beef is the thing, steaks, barbecue, and my dad, my uncles, everybody's always barbecuing.
So you grew up doing that. Your family was cooking out. You're seeing them cook that
for sure,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
And then I moved to the Houston area in 2005, and just before we had kids or anything, me and a buddy started doing chili cooking competitions because it was cheap, it was easy. All we needed was a Coleman stove, a pot, and a pop-up tent. That's it.
Did you put beans in it?
No beans, no beans.
Thank you.
I'll link to that.
But we would go do that every weekend and go have fun, and got pretty good at that. And then several of these chili cook-offs had barbecue cook-offs as well. So we said, let's start doing that. And this is probably, 13, 14 years ago. And then we dove full force, had a pit built, and dove into the competition world of barbecue.
Yeah.
And through that, we started picking up some caterings, kind of just a side hustle here or there. And about 3 years ago, dove all the way in.
This is what I'm doing. This is my life.
That's right.
First.
This is your future. Yeah. This is what you're doing. Yeah.
This is it. Dove
Yeah.
all the way in, quit my job. Luckily,
I
have a
love it.
supportive wife that
Yeah.
allowed me to do that. And
A lot of folks that say if you love it, just freaking go.
Figure
all
out a way
in.
to do it.
You know this.
just figure
Yeah,
out a way to do it.
Yeah.
And
All of us.
it's
Absolutely.
rough there for a little
Harder
while,
than it
but
sounds,
Yeah.
but you do it.
it's
do it.
Yeah.
going like this now.
That's
That's
great.
it.
So the catering is good. We do a lot of that, and then
Is that the majority of your business is catering to folks? Is
no,
that
the majority of our business is the rubs and sauces.
okay? Okay.
At least right now, that's really a lot. We're in HEB, Kroger, Rouse's in Louisiana.
BREGGY Bomb, yeah?
BREGGY Bomb, correct.
Cool.
But yeah, the history of the steaks and stuff, like you were talking about. So you were talking about the Spanish coming over and bringing cattle over.
Mm-hmm.
There's really kind of three main influences on Texas barbecue. The Spanish being the first one. They'd take steaks or whatever beef, slaughter it, cook it over open fires. And then you had the
Just
Mexican.
that term. Yeah. I don't interrupt you, but just like barbecue, barbacoa, right? Is slow roasting. Is that right? Correct me on that.
Yeah. So the Spanish, they'd cook hot and fast over,
Okay.
mesquite or whatever was available. And you see a lot of that still
Oh,
in.
cool.
There you go.
There it is.
See a lot of that still in West Texas. And then you had the Mexican influence, which is the barbacoa.
Okay.
The Mexicans came in down in South Texas, especially, and they still do a lot of it. They would dig a pit in the ground and put a cow's head in there and cover it in coals, and you get your barbacoa.
But that's where the name, barbecue, right,
Correct,
comes
yeah.
from. Is from that.
Right on.
Okay.
And then what we all know is Texas barbecue today is heavily influenced by the Germans and the Czechs that came into Texas. They brought over their methods of smoking meats to preserve it more than anything. And that's what we all think of now as traditional Texas barbecue.
Yeah, I mean, what a great confluence of just different cultures with that.
Yeah,
I mean, you have
absolutely.
No, that's
Yep.
fascinating.
Yeah, you got the actual breed of these cows, right? And I was talking about the Texian army, and then you have the Spanish/Mexican influence. And then, of course, through that belts, that Czech belts, right,
Right.
through Shiner and,
Yep.
and all the way up. It's Prasex and all those kinds of things.
And
right?
then you get into like Lockhart and Luling and that area where some of the best barbecue in the world is,
right.
and some of the oldest too.
What kind of last week we were talking about the Wagyu, right? It's kind of a newer thing here in Texas, and of course the historic breeds of Longhorn. What do you guys use? Does it matter? Or use Angus? I mean, I don't know. I don't understand kind of the technicalities of it.
For competition, like before I came here today, I was at RC Ranch picking up meat for a competition tomorrow. So we'll use Wagyu in competition. If we're doing a catering or something, I like to use prime beef. Most of the time you don't even know what breed it is, but you know that it graded prime.
Right.
So it doesn't
Heavy
matter what-
marbling. I mean,
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what it's all about on grading out prime is the marbling in there.
Right.
So, and then, here in Texas, brisket is king. Brisket
That's
is
right.
king. And that's
Right.
because it was cheap back in the day. It's
Not anymore.
not anymore, no,
Yeah.
but it was.
I mean, even when I was younger, I just remember like brisket is like just dry, nasty.
Right.
It just
Kind of
changed.
the way it was. Everybody ate it.
Exactly.
back
That
in
was
the day.
back in the day. It throws a
Yeah.
bunch of like
Yeah.
sauce on it. It just
Yeah. Covered
it's
up.
for me. It's changed so much.
It has.
Like it's like brisket is like okay, moist brisket is just melt in your
tender.
mouth,
That's correct.
right?
Absolutely. But,
Yeah.
that's where the Germans and the Czechs came in. They would take this, it's a working muscle, a heavy working muscle in the cow, so it's tough and nasty. And that's why it was so cheap. It was a throwaway piece of meat. So these meat markets, the Germans and the Czechs would take this and they figured out if low and slow, cook it for a long time, we can get it tender and make it edible.
What's your time on that? I mean, how long are we talking that you would
I
take?
typically, on my briskets, I cook pretty hot. I'll cook 275 to 300. So it takes me, depending on the size of the brisket, 8 to 10 hours usually, which is fairly fast.
Yeah.
Well, you've been here a couple of times with your catering for us.
Yeah.
You brought in your tenderloins.
Yeah, the beef tenderloin. That's,
Man,
that's
that
my
was amazing.
absolute.
Talk about
I was
that.
going to say, is that kind of the star of your show?
That is my absolute favorite thing to cook is a whole beef tenderloin.
Well, that's my favorite thing to eat.
Especially the way they do it.
I've never had that. I mean, we had
so good.
we had our customers here,
Yeah.
and they were just like, "Oh my god, what is that?"
Yeah.
It is.
I
the
love
star.
doing it, and it is, people have had filet mignon, which comes out of the tenderloin.
Right.
But not many people, where you go do these events and stuff, have ever seen anybody cook a whole 6-7 pound beef tenderloin. And we'll slow smoke it for an hour or two and then sear it off at the end and then slice it thin. And it is just the most tender meat
like butter.
that you can eat. And
So
people go
good.
nuts over it.
Yeah,
Wow.
melts in your mouth.
Talk about competitions. I know it's a big thing for you. I mean, I'm thinking, how do you compete with such a different style if you're going? Because I know you went to the east and you've done a few things out there, Nashville or other places. I can't remember exactly.
We were in
where you-
Kansas City at
Kansas
the
City.
American Royal.
I'm thinking like sweet sauces, and it's just such a different thing. How can you actually win a competition when you're going against such a different kind of style? Of
They have
cooking?
different categories of.
It's
Yeah.
it's pretty much the same categories that we do here.
Depends on the judge's taste buds. For me,
Absolutely, it does.
Right,
And so
yeah.
when we went to Kansas City, that was a 2-day event. They had the invitational on Saturday, which you had to qualify for. We cooked in that, and then they had the open on Sunday. So on Saturday, we kind of we went in there with the mindset, hey, we got to kind of cook to these guys' tastes. A little different than what we do down here. And we tried that, and we didn't do any good. So on Sunday, we said, hey, we're just going to cook how we always cook. And we actually ended up getting 2 calls up to the stage. So
There you go.
who
Stay
knows?
to your
Good,
roots.
good is good, I
Yeah.
guess. Doesn't matter
Right.
where you're at. And we actually got a call on pork, which was very surprising because that's not something we do a
You're
whole
in their
lot of.
world.
Wow.
That's
You're getting
right.
the pork call.
I think we got 13th in pork, and we got 3rd in turkey.
Wow.
Yeah.
You do a lot of turkey?
I do a lot of turkey breast for caterings. Yeah.
Okay.
We do. It's obviously a super lean piece of meat, healthy.
Sure.
We do a lot of caterings for baseball teams and stuff like that, and they do turkey a lot.
Yeah.
We do Rice, UH, Astros, all Pre-game meals, post-game meals, stuff like that, and they like turkey.
So, well, you just kind of touched on it there as far as who do you cater to primarily? Is there a specific group that you're really kind of dialed into that you do all of their stuff, or?
So we do a bit with the Astros.
Okay. For obvious
rice,
reasons.
obvious reasons, correct.
Yeah.
Rice, we do a lot with rice.
Sure.
We picked that up last year, and this year we started doing almost every Friday. If they have a home game, we're catering the baseball team's meal.
That's nice.
So it's
Yeah,
good. And
that is.
we're working on a deal for the football team as well at UH. So
You can't screw up and make them sick or anything. I mean, that would be like the worst thing in the world.
yeah,
right? So-
that would be bad.
Yeah, no doubt.
There's a little pressure there.
Yeah, no doubt.
And it's funny, you're cooking for these athletes and stuff. You better cook a little more than you normally do for just
no
regular
doubt.
people. Those college
put it
boys can
away.
They
eat.
can put it away. They're hungry.
Absolutely. We did a catering down in Galveston for Columbia University baseball team was in Houston playing a game last year, and there's a kid from Sugar Land who plays for them, and his dad hired us to come put on a Texas barbecue thing for the team while they were here. And my God, we put out the food, and those college kids wiped us out in about 5 minutes. It was
Wow.
unbelievable.
I got my good buddy Jason Burkhalter right here, and I remember us as kids, we would just destroy food. Remember that? We would just go to these buffets and just absolutely. I can't do that anymore.
No,
You know?
me neither.
I just expand out,
And get sleepy.
and sleepy.
Bottle of
I
Tums.
start sweating, It's
That's
like,
right,
oh my
that's
God.
right.
Yeah, no doubt. So, what about the spice business? I mean, there's got a lot of stuff going on.
We have
And by
a
the
lot
way,
of-
everywhere we go with these different events, I like, oh, there's JD Marsh. I can't believe
He's everywhere.
everywhere. JD Marsh is everywhere.
Well, we're talking about that. You've got your catering events. You've got the next level kind of thing you're doing.
Yeah.
Sauces. And you've got 2 kids. You got a wife.
Yeah, and we all stay very busy.
I was gonna say you're
Man.
everywhere. How do you do that?
It's
all over the
it's a lot.
states, yeah.
It's a lot. But we touched on the catering stuff, and then the sauce and rub companies. We have J Bar J Sauce and Spice Company, and then we have BREGGY Bomb. That's about 3 years ago. I touched on 10 plus years of competition cooking. We developed these recipes that we use, and we talked about it forever. Me and my 2 partners, and we finally decided, hey, let's jump in and take this to market. And so we did. We were in business about a year on our own. We were in some mom and pop stores here and there, and starting to gain a little traction. But it was just grassroots,
Yeah.
grinding. And then we were lucky enough to get in touch with Alex Bregman, and he had his salsa company already. Was looking to expand into some other markets. We catered the Astros one night, and he said, "Hey, y'all come to my house tomorrow, and let's talk." So we went there and sat around his kitchen table for about 4 hours, and next thing you know, we had another company. And it's gone really well. Obviously, having a person like Alex Bregman, everybody knows him. That helps. But I like to say all the time, the name gets people to buy it once. The quality of the product gets them
That's
to buy it
absolutely
again.
right.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we're really proud of it. Nothing but good feedback.
It's actually lucky. If I was like just shaking. If you shake this at at home during the Astro game, that's how I won the World Series, man. It was funny because I was doing that when I was in Kazakhstan. I have
Yeah.
some there. And my boys doing it at the same time,
Yeah.
and they won. So there's some luck, that you can. I don't know what you got in that magic bottle there. But
Tell us about this one, the brush dust. I put it on chicken actually this last weekend. I made some chicken breasts on
Yep.
the grill. I put it on there, and man, it was good.
It's good.
It was
It's
good. Tell us about.
I think
that.
people are scared of it sometimes because it's yellow.
Yeah. My
What
wife
am I doing
commented
there?
about that.
Doesn't
Why is-
look normal.
Why is
That's-
the chicken yellow?
That's the
Back away from it.
yeah,
that's the turmeric in there.
because it's
That's-
delicious.
Yeah,
That's
that's
why.
that's turmeric in there that
Yeah,
makes
it's
it
good for
yellow,
you.
and it's good
cancer
for you.
fighting agent.
And it's really good, like you said, on chicken,
Yeah.
fish. It's phenomenal. We put it on
What kind of fish you put it on? Any kind of
any kind of fish, any kind of. I was in Alaska last year, brought back a bunch of salmon. And rockfish, and
Yeah.
I put it on that. It's delicious. Shrimp. It's good on pork chops. And then we have the El Jefe rub, which is kind of an all-around rub, and that's the beef rub. You put that on steaks.
I've used
That's
that
it.
many times.
On
and
those-
I like it.
No doubt.
on those beef tenderloins. That's
Yeah.
what we put on there.
So help me out. So I never know how much to use
Right.
when I'm cooking something like that. So if I was doing a tenderloin, I mean,
I'd
how
go
much
for
of this bottle am I going to use?
You coat the whole thing. You want to
Yeah,
layer
I mean,
on
is
there?
Saturate it.
it pretty?
You want to wait and
Is it
sprinkle
hearty?
after?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're gonna put a pretty good coat on it.
Yeah.
Pretty heavy with the El Jefe on a tenderloin.
Yeah.
And same thing on a steak. I like to coat it pretty good.
Because that's really going to,
Absolutely.
those flavors are going to sit
Absolutely.
down in
And we have some other stuff that is in the works that'll be out soon. We have a Creole. I think I brought y'all some of that last
You
time
did.
I was in
Yeah.
here. And there's
You
some
did.
on the eggs over there. And it's really good. We're really proud of that one. And then we have a brisket rub coming out, which is a very traditional Texas brisket rub, heavy on the salt, pepper, garlic.
Yeah.
Not too fancy, but it's a, like I said, traditional Texas rub. And that's what I like
Yeah.
on my briskets.
Nice.
I love it, man.
It's all good.
We're proud of it.
Yeah, love it all.
It's gone well. We're H-E-B, Kroger, Rouse's in Louisiana. We should be picking up Albertsons next month.
That'll be a
It's-
big deal because that's nationwide, right?
Correct.
Albertsons.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of Albertsons
So-
all the time.
I know.
Yeah.
They're big.
I know.
Oh, man, that's great because HEB is kind of more a little more regional.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah. But
And
still,
Kroger-
that's a lot of volume though. Probably. How are y'all doing in HEB?
We're doing good. We're in 100 and right now we're in 120 some odd stores with
Yeah.
HEB,
Yeah.
mostly in the region. You know, they don't always give us a accurate store list, and it's fun when I get a text message from a friend that lives in Midland or New Braunfels or even up in Dallas now, and they say, "Hey, we found your stuff on the shelf." That's always a exciting
Yeah,
text
nice
message
surprise.
to get.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
pretty
sure
cool.
y'all get the same thing with the boots and stuff. Somebody
yeah,
says,
all over the world.
"Oh, I met somebody so and so somewhere that is wearing your boots."
Oh,
It's-
absolutely.
Yeah, the network is deep. I mean, it's just we're in the same kind of circles as well, so we know
Absolutely.
a lot of these different kinds of folks.
The
Man, that's
circle's
cool.
crazy. Yeah, we know a lot of the same people. Every time we hang out,
Every
it's,
time.
it's somebody new. Though.
Center
You know
of the
so and so.
universe,
You know so and so.
as
Yeah.
we say.
The boot shop is the center of the universe. That's
It
right.
is.
That's right.
Especially on Fireball Fridays.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that's where we are. We're doing
It's always
it.
good to be here on Fireball Friday.
That's right, buddy. Well, cool, man. What else you got? Anything else that we need to kind of any interesting stuff that we need to understand about Breggy Bomb or J Bar J? Anything coming up or anything
Yeah,
that
we
we
got
should?
coming up.
We got actually tomorrow we have a cook-off coming up tomorrow. We're going to Hallettsville for the Fiddlers Frolic, the Texas State
Okay.
Fiddling Championship.
Texas
How cool
State
is that?
Fiddling Championship.
Yep.
Who'd have known?
It's great, and I remember going there when I was a kid every year and just having fun. And now we go cook at it. It's a big one. There,
Amazing.
I think last year there was like 180 teams or something.
Jeez.
Wow.
And we got first place steak and first place ribs there last year, so we're gonna go try to
Yes,
defend
sir.
our title.
So when you do steak,
sir.
what do you do it? You're doing that's not the tenderloin. That's
No, I went today and bought
Okay.
went to RC Ranch and
bought the
bought a
Wagyu.
Wagyu bone-in tomahawk ribeye about this
God, I'm
thick.
starving.
Oh my gosh.
Somebody please order us a Wagyu.
Okay, so all right, so tell me how
There's
you
a raw
wait.
one in my truck right
All
now.
right, so tell me
Please,
how
somebody
you're
go.
gonna cook
Can
that.
somebody please break into
That's
JD's
right.
truck over there and order?
So you're gonna sear that, right? How does that work?
Yeah, I'll do a
How-
reverse sear on that. We'll
Reverse
smoke
sear.
it for a while until it gets to about 120 degrees or so, and then I like to let it rest for a while. I'll put a little tin foil over it and just let it sit on the counter and rest for a while, and then right at the end, right before we're going to turn it in, I'll sear the hell out of it and get those good grill marks on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're using the
Nice.
El
Wagyu
Jefe, we'll
bomb?
have El Jefe.
Jefe?
That's all that's going to be on it. That's
That
right.
is great. So
Yep.
nothing else.
That's
no
it.
salt, no pepper. Just
I'll put
some
no,
El Jefe.
I'll put a little olive oil on it just to help bind it.
Okay.
But other than that, as far as seasoning, that's it. And like I said, we've won. We do well in steak pretty much everywhere we go. So we won it last year. We're gonna try to win it again this year.
Well, you just gave us all your secrets, so now
That's
we
all
can
right.
make.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Steve.
He's got it.
Steve's been pulling out. He's like, no. Okay,
Yep.
reverse shear.
It's nothing. It's nothing that fancy. It's nothing that
It's in the
fancy.
technique. It's not.
But it's good.
Hey,
Yeah.
like you said, it's all about you get the good quality meat,
Yeah.
and
RC
you-
Ranch.
and then you
That's
get the
right.
good quality rub,
Yeah.
and then the process.
Bread bomb.
Man,
It's all about
you got
the,
it down.
A lot of it's about the meat, obviously. We won 2 years ago, Celebration in Sealy. We won the state competition with the same steak, and it was our first year to do that one, and we won first place. And I think a lot of the natives got mad at us for spending that much money on a steak and coming in and winning. And so last year they supplied the steaks to everybody. We couldn't bring us.
Okay.
And,
Do something with that.
Love
I
it.
told him, I said, I'm coming to win. I'm not coming to play games here. I'll spend the money if I can win with it.
That's right.
There
You
you
gotta
go.
do it.
If you're not trying that hard, then
Yeah.
just don't even show up.
I like
Well,
it.
that's cool. I mean, thank you, man. This has been fascinating for us. I think it's had everybody learn a little bit about something here. Where to find you as well.
Yeah.
You're all these different, restaurants and
Restaurants, we're in
and grocery stores.
We have deals with restaurants. We have, like I said, H-E-B, Rouse's.
Yeah.
Kroger, online.
Can you go direct
order
online?
online?
Yeah.
BreGGY.com. We do
Okay.
a lot
Oh, very
of
cool.
e-commerce, and we have swag. We got shirts, hats, all that good stuff as well.
Nice.
Republic Boot Company, come in here and get you some of this
Yeah.
swamp sauce.
Absolutely.
That's right.
And
have
good
it here.
stuff.
And we're all hungrier now.
Yeah.
I know.
Now
no
that we
doubt,
talked
no
to you.
doubt. Somebody
We're all starving to
break
death.
into.
Well, my wife made a nice charcuterie board.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all can go
Hey, you got to
on-
plug her company. You got to plug
Yeah,
her company.
Honey and Bree. You can find her on Facebook. She does
Honey
grazing
and Bree.
tables,
Okay.
grazing
Honey-
tables, and
You hear that?
charcuterie boards.
Honey
and all kinds
and
of stuff.
Bree.
Well, we
Amber
posted some
Heart.
pictures, so we're kind of
Okay.
producing this with different pictures.
Yeah,
so you
we'll
gotta-
get some
that,
pictures.
That is a beautiful charcuterie
I
board.
had one of the deviled eggs
Yeah.
with what was that stuff that's on
I
it?
had two.
Oh my
Was that the
God.
bacon jam?
Oh,
Yes.
the bacon. Yeah, that's what it was. Bacon.
Absolutely
jam.
incredible.
Oh man, that's so.
Yeah, I
good.
brought some in
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
Oh, it was like
And they were gone in 2 seconds.
He brought a whole container, and we just, they're gone.
we eat good here.
can't tell. Can't.
Nope. Nope.
Yeah, no.
Well, I know a tailor, so.
Yeah, that's right. Might need to take it out.
One
on
out
that.
here, yeah. Amber Marsh has supplied us.
There you go.
What do you know about boots?
What do I know about boots?
Yeah.
I know I got on some nice boots.
Oh, there it is.
Hey.
That's cool. Tell us about those boots. Why did you design them like that? What's going on with those?
These are shark skin. I did the pink. My wife is a breast cancer survivor.
Yes, sir.
And,
Awesome.
I've actually always liked pink since I was a kid. I wear pink shirts, whatnot. But that's
Is
why
what
I
it
did
is.
that. And then this is our company logo, J Bar
J.
on the front of it. So
Sweet.
yeah, y'all did
Cool.
a great job. Most comfortable boots I've ever worn for sure.
Thank
I
you,
tell
sir.
everybody I talk to everybody that asks about them, tell them y'all got to go over there and see those guys because they'll beat anything out there.
Yeah, thank you, brother. And we do. So this is kind of the part of the show where we talk about the boot of the week, right? So this is for a good friend of ours, Justin Smith. He's a tie down roper,
Yeah,
right?
Yes.
professional tie-down
NFR
roper.
30. So it's just kind of a cool boot that we want to kind of highlight today. This is a hippopotamus bottom, black hippopotamus, super tough.
It's not completed, so it's in,
Yeah.
it's in
Yeah.
process here. Yeah.
Great point. You can kind of see the raw marks. So we actually hand stack the heels here. We use a veg tan leather that I explained last time, for the soles. It's used on the heels here. Those are actually hand cut by Raul and others that we have back there to actually get the raw form. Then it's kind of sanded to the exact angles of the heel that he requires. So this is kind of a cool boot. It's kind of a promo boot. Got the Republic Boot Company on the back. And
What is the vamp? What is it?
hippo.
Yeah.
He said it was hippopotamus
Yes.
bottom.
Hungry
Hippopotamus, there it
hippo.
is.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a good looking boot.
Yeah.
It's cool when this thing's shined up and stuff. I mean, that hippo is just indestructible. It's
Yep.
stretchy. We sell a lot of hippo in the store. We've got tan hippo, brown hippo, and of course this black hippo. Yeah,
Very cool.
Calfskin top.
Oh,
right?
calfskin
Oh,
top.
it's gorgeous.
NFR 31. You put your logo on anything.
Love it.
It's just a cool boot. It's gonna look beautiful when it's done. But we wanted to show you something that was kind of an in progress.
I mean, that's
Oh.
that silver there. That's gonna really, kind of
Yeah, it's gonna pop, man.
gonna pop. That's gonna.
Yeah,
look
he's
nice.
he's good. You say he won the last?
Yeah, I think San Angelo. I think what was it? #1 average or something with the tie down roping. So
Very cool.
Yeah,
Outstanding.
he got the prize there. So did a really great job.
Well, we're proud,
proud of him.
Absolutely.
Good
Yeah.
stuff. Great people. He's getting
Yeah.
married. I think in
He's getting
June.
married.
That's
Yeah.
right.
You made him a suit.
Yeah,
Or you made him a
made
suit
him
jacket.
some stuff for his wedding that he looks great in.
You got his dad and
You
some
can go to-
boots.
You can go to our Instagram and probably see some pictures
Yeah,
of that.
exactly. Check us out.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we got the next episode coming up. We're going to be talking about the finale battle of the of San Jacinto. It's going to be great. We've got Kenny Duncan Jr. coming up, talking about some coins, some memorabilia, some just cool stuff. Got a lot of
Very cool.
interesting content. Thank you, JD.
Yeah, thanks
It's
for
been
having me. It's a great
fantastic.
time.
Thank you, Help.
Good stuff. See y'all.
All right.